Hello, and welcome to Calm and Cozy Stories, a place where everyone can find calm and enchantment beneath the soft glow of the moon, right before drifting off to sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another journey through a captivating story, one that helps cultivate a sense of peace and relaxation. Before we begin, let's take a moment to gently prepare our bodies and minds for a soothing, restorative rest. Make yourself comfortable, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, allow the cares of the day to gradually slip away. It's not always simple to detach from the day's busyness, especially when bedtime approaches. But keep in mind, the less we worry about falling asleep, the easier it is for the mind to release tension. Let the steady rhythm of your breathing carry off any remaining worries, and let the story you're about to hear guide you into deep relaxation. Now, settle in and allow the moonlit atmosphere to softly embrace you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into peaceful, restful slumber here on Calm and Cozy Stories. Late, under a sliver of moon, you find yourself before a library. Not just any library, but one steeped in age, whispering secrets on the night air, the very library of time. Let the threshold beckon. Let us venture within to uncover what marvels await this evening. Before the immense doors, the air thickens with the scent of aged mahogany, rich and deep. Their surface gleams, polished smooth by centuries. Intricate carvings border each frame, a pattern instantly familiar. The Celtic knot, weaving endlessly, without origin or conclusion. Against the dark grain, its beauty deepens. Hesitantly, a hand lifts, tracing the ceaseless loops and braids etched into the wood. Where the two doors converge, a single image dominates, a figure carved with masterful artistry. She stands, a woman of arresting beauty and fierce mien, a circlet gracing her brow, a tempest of curls cascading behind her. One hand grips a spear, the other lifts in resolute defiance. There, magnificent upon a chariot drawn by two stallions captured mid-rear, hooves striking air. As your fingers ghost over the carving, a phantom whinny seems to echo. Who could she be, this formidable woman? What narrative slumber beyond these ancient portals? Impelled by curiosity, you grasp the cool brass handle. With a soft groan, the heavy doors yield, swinging inward. You stand poised on the cusp of magnificence. A moment's pause allows the scene to imprint itself. Floors of pristine white marble, stretching towards a breathtaking coffered ceiling, its sunken panels reaching high above. Stone walls rise, punctuated by stained glass windows, depicting scenes lost to memory. Daylight, filtered through these panes, ignites the glass, casting vibrant, shifting colors that waltz across the polished floor. Forward you step, beneath the scintillating cascade of an immense crystal chandelier. Its gentle radiance illuminates two grand, curving staircases, flanking a gleaming golden plaque. Drawn closer, you read the engraved script aloud. Welcome to the Library of Time. Only the most inquisitive spirits find this sanctuary. Every volume herein bridges time and place. Whilst visiting the past, you remain unseen, unheard. History cannot be altered, merely understood, and understand you shall. A thrill courses through you, Could it be true? A smile touches your lips as you ascend the spiraling stairs. Gradually, the second floor unfurls. Endless rows of towering bookshelves, punctuated by columns of white marble. Each shelf groans under the weight of countless books. Ancient tomes exuding that distinct, evocative perfume. Part musty parchment, part latent magic. Scanning the vast chamber, your gaze drifts right, snagged by a particular volume. Its cover is the deep green of ancient forests, its spine bordered by the same Celtic knot from the doors below. No title adorns its sturdy spine, only a date. 60 CE. Easing it from the shelf, you're struck by the unexpected velvety texture of the cover, its surprising lightness in your grasp. You move onward, navigating the labyrinth of shelves and columns that kiss the distant ceiling. A cozy nook beckons, bathed in a soft, inviting glow. Here, nestled directly beneath a wide skylight, lies a welcoming drift of cushions. Some mirror the forest green of your chosen book, gleaming like emeralds in the focused beam from above. Others bear the vivid pattern of bright green tartan, crisscrossed with lines of azure, white, and crimson. Settle amidst the cushions. Feel their soft, woolen embrace, a comforting texture against your skin. Comfortable now, turn your focus to the book. The crisp rustle of turning pages fills the quiet air as you begin to read. In 43 CE, the newly ascended Emperor Tiberius, hungry to expand Rome's dominion, cast his ambitious gaze towards the long-coveted Isle of Britain, then known as Britannia. Since the Iron Age, it had been home to disparate indigenous tribes, many believed to have journeyed from continental Europe, though history would label them collectively as Celts. Profound differences existed between them. Distinct kingdoms, dialects, customs, and rites. What these tribes did share was a fearsome reputation as warriors. Yet, even their ferocity proved insufficient against the disciplined might of the Roman legions. Following Tiberius's decree, 40,000 soldiers made landfall in the southeast. The eastern tribes fell with comparative swiftness. Thereafter, many tribal leaders faced a stark choice: cooperate with the Roman conquerors or face annihilation. Among those who chose alliance was the king of the eastern Iceni tribe. He continued his reign as an independent collaborator with Rome. Like many neighbors in the region, known today as Norfolk and Suffolk, his people engaged in trade with the Romans, slowly weaving the first threads of a Romano-British culture. Peace settled, fragile and fleeting. Upon the king's death, his will divided his kingdom between his two daughters and the Roman emperor. His wife, Queen Verreca, assumed sole leadership of the Iceni. Within Celtic society, a woman could ascend to such authority. To the Romans, however, female leadership was inconceivable, unworthy of respect. Thus, they cast aside the treaties, annexing the kingdom, seizing Iceni lands by force. Underestimating Verreca was their critical error. she emerged as a ferocious adversary, a leader of considerable skill and charisma. She rallied neighboring tribes, uniting them beneath her banner against the common Roman foe. Ignited by the flames of vengeance, Verica orchestrated a potent, coordinated uprising. Her support swelled with every strategic move, culminating in a final battle where she commanded an astonishing force of 230,000. Ultimately, Verica and the Iceni could not halt the inexorable Roman conquest of Britannia, a process that would span another 4 decades. Yet, she imparted a crucial lesson, one that resonated through the mighty empire, shaking it to its foundations. As the Roman statesman and historian Tacitus Minor later chronicled, all this devastation was wrought upon the Romans by a woman, a reality that, in itself, inflicted upon them the deepest shame. The name Verica, sometimes rendered in other forms, derives from a Celtic word signifying victory. Despite her eventual defeat, her legacy endures with a triumphant resonance few achieve. To this day, she is remembered as the warrior queen who dared to challenge the greatest military force the world had ever known. You pause, reflecting. What a chronicle, you muse. Setting the book gently beside you, you lace your fingers behind your head, gazing up through the skylight's glass. Your thoughts drift back to the library doors, to the central carving, the crowned woman, spear in hand, arm raised, wild hair streaming. Allowing your eyes to close for just a moment, a peculiar sensation envelops you. First, a feeling of sinking, deeper and deeper into the plush evergreen cushions. Then, an inexplicable lightness, as if buoyed, floating untethered through time and space, towards a destination both intimately familiar and utterly unknown. Opening your eyes, you behold the same figure, the one etched upon the library doors. Still daydreaming, you assume. But then, before your astonished gaze, a transformation begins. The carved wood suffuses with color. The queen's face and form spring to life, adorned with the vivid blue whorls of Celtic battle paint. Her hair blazes a fiery red. Her gown is a breathtaking green tartan, echoing the patterned cushions from the library floor. The chariot beneath her gleams gold, pulled by horses of rich chestnut brown. You stand utterly captivated by the sheer presence and beauty of this warrior queen, by the magic unfolding. Glancing down, you find yourself standing on damp, yielding earth. Crisp, fresh air fills your lungs. The panorama surrounding you is the English countryside of millennia past. A tremor begins in the air, a rising tide of sound and motion. Behind the 2 magnificent steeds, her golden chariot rolls towards you, catching the sunlight. She circles the clearing once, then again, her poise unwavering despite the uneven ground. Her untamed mane of long red hair whips and dances in the wind around her face. Her tartan cloak billows, secured at her throat by a gleaming gold brooch. As she passes, a hint of a mischievous smile plays on her lips. Finally, the horses slow, and Verica halts her glorious chariot mere meters away. Close now, she is even more formidable, tall, imposing, every inch the warrior queen. Her face, painted with swirling sapphire designs, turns in your direction. For a fleeting second, you wonder if she perceives you, but her piercing green eyes soon slide past, looking straight through you as if you were mere air. The words from the library plaque resurface. In the past, you will neither be seen nor heard. How extraordinary, you realize, to possess a front row view entirely unnoticed. With this understanding, an internal tension releases. Your shoulders settle lower, your limbs feel unbound, weightless. Follow the queen as she descends gracefully from her chariot and strides forward. Only now do you truly absorb your surroundings. You stand atop a large, excavated hill. A hill fort. The easily defensible heart of an Iron Age British community. Your gaze sweeps across the settlement. Much of it is encircled by a high timber palisade, reinforcing the natural sense of security afforded by the elevated position. From this vantage point, you command a sweeping view of the vast, undulating green landscape stretching beyond the walls. Directly below the fort, cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs graze within wooden enclosures, tended by watchful men and women. A substantial crop field lies nearby, where numerous figures toil. Men guide wooden plows, dragged by immense, deliberate oxen, carving straight furrows into the heavy soil. Further off, near the horizon, a thin ribbon of blue water shimmers. You must be on Britannia's eastern coast, the Iceni heartland. That water, then, is the English Channel, the Narrow Sea, as the Romans termed it. Even from this distance, its rhythmic, placid waves seem to offer a familiar greeting. A clean, salty tang hangs in the air. For a moment, you are lost in the scene, simply absorbing it all. Eventually, your focus returns to life within the hill fort. Here, the air hums with the industry of many hands and feet, punctuated by bursts of conversation. Dwellings, roundhouses, dot the landscape, their walls constructed from earth, stone, and timber, topped with conical thatched roofs of reed. Some have animals lounging contentedly on sun-drenched patches of grass outside. Others feature small vegetable plots, where rows of cabbages and corn push upwards towards the intermittent sunlight. You wander into the settlement's core, roundhouses flanking your path. The sounds of daily life intensify. People are everywhere, moving purposefully, cheerfully oblivious to your spectral presence. Men wear simple tunics, cinched at the waist with belts. Women are clad in floor-length dresses. Both favor cloaks of tartan, invariably the same vibrant pattern worn by the queen, the very design that adorned the library cushions. The quality and artistry of the fabrics astonish you. The colors so bold, the lines so precise, the weaving so seamless. Just as you ponder the creation of such textiles, you pass a group of women engaged in that exact craft. Near a roundhouse entrance, a young woman stirs woolen threads in a barrel filled with liquid, the motion creating a soothing sound, reminiscent of the narrow sea's gentle lapping. Peering closer, you see the liquid is a deep, intense blue. Standing over it, you catch the faint, sweet scent of woad. Beside her, another woman works at a tall wooden loom, already threaded with dyed strands of green, white, red and blue. With practiced dexterity and meticulous focus, she passes the shuttle back and forth, weaving the intricate pattern. It seems incredible that people 2 millennia removed could produce such flawless, beautiful designs. Here is first-hand evidence of their resourcefulness, their talent, their peaceful diligence. Signs of the tribe's industriousness are everywhere in this ancient village. From the roundhouse next door emanates the rhythmic clang of Iron Age metalworking. Following the sound inside, you discover several artisans. One heats gold in a crucible over a crackling fire, before carefully pouring the molten liquid into a large, circular mold. Nearby, another man hammers a cooled strip of gold flat, his mallet striking a steady beat. A third undertakes the most intricate task, though his expression remains serene. Using iron and leather tools, he expertly hammers flattened gold strips around a circular form, coaxing them into elaborate twists and coils. The stunning result: a heavy, coiled golden neck ring. A torx, fit for Celtic nobility. You've never encountered jewelry quite like it. Continuing your exploration, you pass more roundhouses, each offering glimpses of life within and without. Metalworkers forge shields and swords, preparing for conflict. Children practice with wooden slingshots, aiming at makeshift targets. An elderly woman sits cross-legged before a large pottery wheel, spinning it with a wooden stick. Her wet hands deftly shape the lump of clay at its center, transforming it into an elegant bowl. You linger, finding the quiet concentration of the scene deeply calming. The air here is delightful, cool, invigorating, carrying a subtle, tantalizing aroma. Tracking the mouth-watering scent past homes and workshops, you arrive at a particularly large, impressive roundhouse. Its size and prominence suggest its significance. This must be the dwelling of the Celtic queen herself. Stepping inside, you enter a warm, inviting space, heated by a central fire pit sunk into the earthen floor. Thick plumes of smoke spiral upwards, escaping through an opening in the thatched roof, leaving behind only the rich scent of cooking food. Luxurious furs line the floor. Reaching down, you feel their surprising softness. More furs are piled amongst mounds of clean golden straw. Bedding, you deduce, for the warrior queen and her daughters. You see them now, gathered around the hearth. The queen ladles a fragrant meat stew from a cauldron suspended over the flames. Bowls are quickly filled with tender meats and fresh, aromatic vegetables. Taking a spare ladle and bowl, you help yourself, then settle onto the furs, an unseen guest at the Celtic royal table. The stew bursts with colorful, homegrown leeks, cabbage, parsnips, and carrots. Taking a bite, the rich, hearty flavor floods your senses. You detect the distinct tang of wild garlic and parsley. It's a profoundly comforting meal, evoking feelings of family and home. Beside you, Verica and her daughters finish their meal, placing empty bowls on a low wooden table. They pick up goblets filled with homemade mead, sipping contentedly. The air sweetens with the scent of honey. The women converse easily, sharing anecdotes from their day, their faces illuminated by the flickering firelight. Verica wears a golden torque, even more magnificent than the one you saw being crafted. Multiple bands are intricately braided around its heavy, ornate base, the terminals fashioned into complex Celtic knots. Her vibrant blue war paint has been washed away, and her tartan cloak hangs nearby. In the fire's golden glow, the warrior queen appears even more striking. Her hair is a cascade of fiery red curls, her keen eyes glittering like polished emeralds. The fierce spirit within her is palpable. Yet now, a warmth and tenderness soften her features, qualities less apparent before. She is undeniably the warrior queen. But here, in the sanctuary of her home, she is also a devoted mother. The girls chatter about their activities within the fort, while Verica recounts tales from her journeys further afield. Her eyes gleam, mirroring the polished swords and shields leaning against the curved walls. Her words seem to buoy the spirits in the room. Listening intently, you overhear her telling her daughters of her plan: to meet with leaders of neighboring tribes, to persuade them to join the Iceni cause. Then, she declares matter-of-factly, stroking her eldest daughter's hair, she will vanquish the Roman enemy. For her children, for all her people. Witnessing this intimate scene feels like an immense privilege. A deep sense of relaxation and contentment washes over you. Little do you suspect that the approaching nightfall holds further quiet wonders. Noticing the deepening twilight outside, Verica leads her daughters from the roundhouse. They lie side by side on the cool grass nearby. Joining them, you tilt your head back, gazing upwards, as they do, into a night sky ablaze with stars. You recall the Celts' profound reverence for the cosmos, listening as they discuss the shifting patterns and positions of constellations in hushed, melodic tones. Verica points towards the North Star, the celestial destination, she explains, where Celtic souls ascend in the afterlife, following the spiraling stellar pathway beneath it. Here on the grass, the night air cool against your face, you feel utterly serene. Allowing your eyes to drift closed, you again sense that extraordinary lightness, as if floating, gently transported through time and space, back to the library, where this journey commenced. The glass expanse of the atrium now lies between you and the star-dusted night. The green beneath you is no longer grass, but the plush velvet of cushions. Resting on a tartan pillow beside you lies your book, fallen open to a central illustration depicting the warrior queen and her daughters. You regard it with a knowing smile, thinking it fails to capture the true force of her presence. The reality was far more compelling. Closing the book, you nestle deeper into the soft cushions, allowing your thoughts to settle alongside you. Then, enveloped by the library's quiet magic, you drift into a profound and dream-filled sleep. In an age etched in marble and memory, during the ascendant years of the 2nd century, the Roman Emperor Lucius Aelius sought refuge in his nascent country sanctuary. Tibur, a mere 20 miles from the clamor of Rome, yet worlds away in spirit, cradled his newly sculpted estate, a haven he retreated to whenever the imperial mantle grew heavy. This afternoon, late spring draped the land in warmth and sunlight. Lucius Aelius moved through the villa's gardens, a figure of middle years, tall, his dark hair curling above a meticulously kept beard. No imperial purple adorned him now. Light, unpretentious fabrics, and his most trusted sandals whispered against the pathways. Today was not for audiences or decrees. He was breathing freely, newly arrived from a turbulent week in Rome, a respite profoundly earned. Beyond the usual press of state affairs, his attention had been consumed by the grand resurrection of the Pantheon, guiding the hands and minds of his architects, while the shaping of stone and space resonated deeply within him. The city's relentless pulse inevitably frayed his spirit. Escape to the countryside became not just a desire, but a necessity. The swift journey by horseback, a fleeting transition of a few hours, often stretched a weekend's solace into weeks, the villa's embrace proving difficult to leave. Now, Lucius Aelius surrendered once more to the languid cadence of rural existence. He had arrived that morning, partaken of a robust midday meal, and commenced his customary exploration of the grounds. His steps led him through a cultivated garden, bordering the estate's edge. His loyal black hound, Vesta, a silent shadow at his heels. This space, a favored corner of his vast domain, married human artistry with nature's untamed grace. Paths wound between flawless marble figures and the murmur of fountains. Above, fragrant wisteria tumbled down brickwork, a cascade of violet against the weathered surfaces. In the distance, sunlight shattered across the surface of an elongated pool. Silence reigned, save for the soft tread of man and dog, the liquid sigh of water. Lucius Aelius paused, listening intently. Birdsong, previously unheard, emerged from the quiet. Sparrows twittered at the fountain rims, dipping to drink and preen. Further off, unseen choristers offered melodies from the deep green secrecy of cypress groves and the elegant canopies of umbrella pines encircling his domain. A profound sigh escaped him, a breath of pure contentment. To be back, here, where the anxieties of the preceding days dissolved like mist. Each return shed years, lifted burdens. He could endure Rome's vibrant chaos only so long before craving this antidote, this Tibur idyll. It felt less like a villa, more like paradise distilled, the peace absolute, the air cool, crisp, alive. Breathing it in, a smile touched his lips. Gratitude welled within him for this sanctuary, this self-made haven available at will. The villa was his vision-given form, a dream home sprung from his own imagination. He'd craved a rural retreat proximate to the capital, yet existing properties fell short. His ambition was grander, more intensely personal. He instructed his architects. Fashion, not merely a house, but his ideal metropolis in miniature. And vast it was. Over 30 structures punctuated by sprawling gardens, the estate dwarfing Pompeii itself. Countless pools, fountains, thermal baths shimmered across the landscape. Libraries, temples, magnificent courtyards, and pavilions stood alongside residential quarters. A private domicile even floated upon its own man-made isle. Expense was no object. Only the finest materials sufficed. Floors gleamed with rare imported marble, intricate mosaics of glass, and ivory tesserae forming complex geometries. Walls wore marble veneers, or vibrant frescoes. Vivid scenes, birds, beasts, myths, danced across surfaces in intricate tilework, while echoing the opulence expected of imperial dwellings. His Palatine Hill residence in Rome was similarly lavish. This country villa resonated with Lucius Aelius's singular spirit. His hand had guided the design of numerous buildings. His eye selected the very stone and pigment. He sought more than luxury. He craved a place that mirrored his life, his journeys, his passions. Recent years had seen him traverse the vast expanse of the empire, lands destined to be known as Britain, Greece, Turkey, Persia, North Africa. Though duty often dictated these odysseys, an innate love of travel propelled him. Memories clung to him, the verdant fields of the north, the sun-scorched deserts of the south. Consequently, his villa became a tapestry of architectural dialects. The underlying structure spoke classical Roman, yet specific enclaves were direct echoes of distant shores. He now walked through such a confluence. The path unfurled towards a long, artificial pool, flanked by stone colonnades and arches. Here, majestic marble sculptures, Roman deities mingling with a procession of Greek caryatids, draped female figures bearing the weight of the entablature, lined the water's edge. Approaching this vista, a familiar satisfaction bloomed within him. The pool's harmonious grace, its perfect synthesis of Hellenic, Roman, and Egyptian aesthetics, was precisely as he had conceived. This waterway symbolized a tributary of the Nile, culminating in a shell-shaped grotto. Part ornament, part shrine, it honored Serapis, the Egyptian lord of the underworld. Within this cool recess reclined a marble effigy of the god, a figure with wild, flowing locks, crowned with a peculiar cylindrical vessel. His expression serene, almost detached. He lay upon an ornate plinth, water murmuring around him, seemingly gazing out over the tranquil, sea-green mirror of the pool. On balmy summer evenings, Lucius Aelius would orchestrate extravagant banquets beside this water. He knew its power over guests. They invariably lauded its aesthetic perfection, the sublime symmetry. A dreamlike quality pervaded the space. Yet for Lucius Aelius, its beauty was deeper, entwined with symbolism and recollection. It summoned the essence of places visited during his extensive travels through North Africa and Greece. Athens, particularly, had captivated him. Its architectural splendor, its vibrant culture. He cherished memories of exploring its streets, engaging in local rites and festivals. These memories were further gilded by the presence of his cherished companion, Lysander. Their paths had crossed during Lucius Aelius's eastern sojourn in the kingdom of Bithynia. Since then, they had been nearly inseparable, traversing the empire side by side. Proximity to the villa's pool invariably transported Lucius Aelius back to those luminous days in faraway lands, Lysander near. Standing by the water now, time dissolved as cherished moments resurfaced. Reaching the grotto end of the pool, he stood motionless, captivated by the water's shimmering play of light and reflected stone. The past's vivid tapestry gently receded, nostalgia transmuting into a quiet appreciation for the present. Those days abroad were among his life's finest, Yet this, too, was a period of peace, of happiness. He felt calmer now, more settled within himself. Lifting his gaze, he absorbed the entire panorama. The long sweep of water, the sentinel rows of columns and statues, the elegant arches framing the scene. Through meticulous design, a dream had solidified into a reality even more potent than the imagining. Soon, the evenings would ripen, warm enough for feasting here once more. Tables would circle the pool, guests reclining near the water's edge, dining beneath the moon's silvered gaze. Closing his eyes, he could almost conjure the sounds. Music and laughter weaving through the soft gurgle of fountains. He anticipated these languid summer nights, shared with Lysander and his innermost circle. Opening his eyes, he found Vesta seated patiently beside him. Time to move on. He knew the hound was happiest in motion. Age had tempered her hunting instincts, but the joy of roaming the estate, exploring every nuance of the gardens, remained undimmed. As Lucius Aelius turned from the pool, Vesta trotted ahead, nose low, investigating every scent. He watched, amused by her intense focus on seemingly ordinary patches of turf, sniffing repeatedly, as if deciphering complex olfactory narratives hidden there. A wry thought surfaced. Vesta remained utterly indifferent to her opulent surroundings. The sculptural marvels, the priceless stone beneath her paws, none registered. Only her master's presence and the earth's intriguing perfumes held her attention. She could be in any garden, anywhere, and find contentment. This was one reason Lucius Aelius treasured dogs, their loyal companionship, their unconditional affection, and their gentle reminder to find joy in life's simpler textures. The villa's architecture and art were magnificent. Yes, but so too was this simple expanse of green. He inhaled deeply, drawing in the rich aroma of newly cut grass. His senses might lack Vesta's acuity, but this fragrance was profoundly satisfying. It spoke of spring, yet simultaneously whispered promises of the summer poised to unfold. These transitional moments held a unique beauty. Spring yielding to summer, summer mellowing into autumn. Reflecting thus, breathing the garden's scents, a sweet nostalgia washed over him again, untethered to specific memories. Just a general feeling of contentment laced with a faint, bittersweet edge. Perhaps, subconsciously, it stemmed from an awareness of time's relentless passage, seeming to accelerate with age. It felt like only yesterday he'd noted this same seasonal shift, yet a full year had spun by. Next spring, the same surprise would likely greet him. He recalled Virgil's resonant line, "Fugit in reparabile tempus." It escapes, irretrievable time. Now a common phrase, "Tempus fugit," time flies. Encountering this maxim as a youth immersed in literature, it had made little impact. He might even have contested it then. Adolescence stretched days into seeming eternities. Time felt infinite. But the poet understood. Ever since, time had indeed flown for Lucius Aelius. Ascending to emperor at 40 marked a watershed. The years now seemed to blur past even faster. A positive sign, perhaps, he mused. Evidence of a life lived richly, densely packed with experience. Yet, The awareness also served as a valuable prompt. Slow down. Savor moments like this. Continuing along the garden path, Lucius Aelius found his pace slackening. He attended to each footfall, each sensation, the grassy perfume, the sun's gentle warmth on his neck. Vesta glanced back, tail questioning, perhaps impatient with his sudden languor. An affectionate pat reassured her, and he quickened his step slightly, heading towards the residential heart of the estate. Emperor and Hound passed a grand thermal bath complex, traversed smaller gardens and courtyards, shimmering with hidden fountains. At last, they arrived at a colonnaded porch, guarding their destination, Lucius Aelius's private island. This island housed a substantial villa, over 30 rooms, including bedchambers, a library, a study, a compact bath suite. The luxurious structure commanded the entirety of its artificial isle, encircled by a shallow moat. Access was via a retractable wooden drawbridge. Though typically left down, Lucius Aelius cherished the option of raising it, sealing himself within his personal domain. Here, he could study, reflect, or sleep utterly undisturbed. The island retreat fulfilled a childhood fantasy. Squabbling with his sister, evading tutors, young Lucius Aelius had yearned for an escape hatch. He daydreamed of a special place, not merely a room, but an island fortress, admitting visitors by invitation only, or sometimes none at all. His own miniature kingdom for solitary pursuits. In those boyish visions, it was a craggy rock, lashed by a cerulean sea. The reality differed, yet gazing now at the splendid house, its white marble luminous in the sun, profound contentment settled over him. His childhood self could never have conceived of manifesting such a sanctuary, designed by his own hand. He stepped onto the wooden span, Vesta close behind. Crossing, his gaze dropped to the moat, catching the flash of a fish darting beneath the surface. This was but one of many fish ponds scattered across the grounds. He found their silent, gliding presence calming, often pausing to watch them navigate the reeds. Perhaps his next project, he mused, an indoor pool, an aquarium filled with vibrant exotic fish, maybe even space within a bedchamber. He would consult his architects soon. A perpetual dreamer, a constant planner, Lucius Aelius always held nascent ideas simmering just below the surface of his thoughts. Beyond the bridge, he entered the villa's imposing entrance hall. An elaborate marble frieze depicting ships and marine life adorned the walls. Intricate mosaics patterned the floor. The only sounds were the echoing clicks of his sandals and Vesta's soft footfalls on the tiles. No one else was present. While other buildings bustled with servants and guests, the island house remained sacrosanct, accessible only by the emperor's leave. His public life demanded constant interaction. The quietude here was a welcome balm. For now, the silent company of his dog sufficed. Vesta padded ahead, turning towards the study, as if divining his intent, often seeming to know his destination before he did. Lucius Aelius followed her into the large, airy chamber overlooking the moat. This was his sanctum for personal passions, divorced from imperial burdens. Reading, composing poetry, delving into philosophy, sketching architectural concepts, or sometimes simply sitting, gazing from the window, lost in memory or reverie. He entered intending to study, perhaps to draft initial designs for the fish pond, but instead found himself drawn to the couch by the window. He reclined, thoughts drifting inevitably back to past journeys. He conjured the tour of southern Greece with Lysander, overseeing the meticulous restoration of ancient temples and shrines. Closing his eyes, the images remained sharp, luminous. He hoped to revisit those lands someday, or perhaps venture further still, to the Empire's distant frontiers. Throughout his life, potent waves of wanderlust had swept over him, but age brought perspective, an ability to gently recall himself to the present. Future travels beckoned, yet patience had taken root. For this moment, he was perfectly content right here. Opening his eyes, he saw Vesta had curled into her customary spot in the corner, nestled on a soft, faded piece of carpet. This worn rug, perhaps the sole object in the entire villa showing its age, Lucius Aelius had resisted replacing. Vesta always made straight for it, settling comfortably at its center to sleep away the afternoon. Watching her doze peacefully, a sympathetic drowsiness crept over Lucius Aelius. The week's exertions, the pleasant fatigue from his garden walks, the profound relaxation of his sanctuary, all conspired towards rest. Nothing demanded his attention. Why not indulge in a nap? Another simple luxury of advancing years, he thought with an inward smile. Rearranging the cushions, he lay back, closing his eyes. He drew a slow, deep breath, feeling his body and mind surrender to stillness. The room was cool, utterly silent now, save for the soft, rhythmic snoring from Vesta's corner and the sound of his own steady breathing. Slow, deep breaths, finding their natural cadence, guiding him gently toward slumber. Thoughts of his villa, his travels, his empire began to soften, blurring at the edges, fading into the quiet background. Lucius Aelius, Emperor of Rome, was drifting into another peaceful, private world, the welcoming realm of sleep